And then we got to give it like what 8 seconds, something like that, because it likes to cut off the feed a little prematurely,
Mm.
both
Okay.
at the beginning and the end. I don't know. Either way, welcome to the Outlawz Podcast. I'm Ares, your local dumbass, smoking crack outside of a Denny's. We are joined here with ScoliQueen, the Canadian crackhead, and then we also have Tama, uh,
Oh,
the guy in Texas who doesn't want to check a baseball bat to a pumpkin. You can find all of our social media in the description down below. So for today, the topic that we are going to be talking about is sexism and racism.
mhm.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. But I just want to, put everything aside and, do all that. Um, I understand I look like your typical redneck who lives up in the mountains surrounded with a lot of guns. Uh, I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about. I don't own a single gun. Um,
No, not at all.
yeah,
It's
don't mind the shotgun, the AK, the crossbow, that gun. There's more in the safe to 22 in that box, 22 in this box, whatever. Anyways, um, yeah. So here's what I've noticed with racism. Everyone does it. Everyone.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what ethnicity, religion, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're all people in my book. I treat everyone how I want to be treated. But I noticed there's a fuckload of people who are just racist for no fucking reason.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
big time.
Yeah. I mean, like, just
Like
like
there's a
looking at
couple
me.
people at my school. They're okay, so my friends, they're like, your teacher's racist, and I'm like, no, he's not. Like, he literally yelled at us the first day. He's like, you're homophobic, racist. Like, he was just saying all those. You will be kicked out of my class in like that, because this is a course that like we need to graduate. So if you're not in this course, you're not graduating.
Mhm.
And like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, he's not racist. And I was talking to my other friend who's in the class, and they're like, no, I don't know what those two are talking about. I'm like, same. Like, they're not even in the class, and they're saying that.
Oh yeah, there's a huge misinterpretation of how you use the word racism because some people can just paint it as if, oh, let's just for example, I say Aries is racist. He's all this and that and that and that, but in actuality, Aries is not. But
Yeah.
there's this like big damage that you can do to one person because I don't know what they say. A villain is not made out of the blue. A villain is made just based on the person's perception. So you make a villain based on them.
Yeah.
So imagine the fact of the damage that Ares receives. He's more than likely gonna give back what they expect it to be
Yeah,
out of due to anger, revenge, remorse, everything at once, you can say.
I'm just methodical. I mean, like, when it comes to people, like, backstabbing me, slandering me, attacking me, or even calling the police on me and, trying to have them, like, swat me and shit. Yeah, fuck all you motherfuckers. I know you who you are. But uh, most of the time, I just get a phone call and they're like, hey, we got a report. You're holding your family hostage and all this shit. And is there a way for us to contact your family? And I'm like, yeah, here's this phone number, here's this phone number, here's this phone number, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, okay. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, call them. They're all landlines.
Yep.
Yeah. So then it's fucking stupid. But like, check this out. Fucking with racism, right?
Hmm.
So like, Tama, what ethnicity are you?
Oh, the term is so mixed up, but I can say Mexican American right now at this situation.
Yeah. But check
But
this out. Check this out. Fucking
mhm,
Mexican American, Asian American,
mhm,
African American, Irish American.
mhm,
We are all just fucking American. what we are doing is labeling ourselves. We are literally dividing our nation into 16ths. We are the people of our nation. The Constitution was written to protect us. We have the right to bear arms just because we might need to overthrow our government one day. That is a scary thought to think about. And like, it is fucking horrendous. So the thing about this is that we are dividing ourselves, making it so that we can't actually cooperate. We cannot consider a coherent fucking thought. Like,
Mm.
check this out. Uh, America, we did slavery, right? We didn't invent it. We purchased the slaves from Africa, and there was times where we did steal them. But the thing is that it wasn't just white people. There were Mexicans who had slaves. There were African Americans who had slaves that were bought as slaves. The thing about it is that so much history is lost and so much shit has become misconstrued that we can't even process the amount of data. Like, people always talk about how America slaughtered, millions of Indians and all this other stuff. Canada did way, way worse shit than us.
Oh yeah, I know that
Yeah,
there.
Yeah,
yeah.
but like the thing about it is that where we get hung up on this, right? Like, we have to pay reparations for what our ancestors did, right? The thing
Mhm.
about it is that why should you be held responsible for something that you and your parents weren't even alive for?
Yeah.
Like, check this
Oh.
out. My family wasn't even in America when that shit was going on. My family was still in Ireland and Germany.
Mm.
My family wasn't here. The German side of my family didn't move here until the beginning of World War II.
Mm.
I mean, also, my mom never learned about like the indigenous, like with the indigenous portion of like the residential schools until she was in college and or university, I can't remember if she said university or college. And I was in like grade 4. I was in a Catholic school at the time. I was in grade 4, Catholic school. And we were researching different like I don't know. I can't remember what it was. But I remember me being in Catholic school. They got so mad that I wanted to research about residential schools, and they said if I did, they would suspend me. And so I was like, okay, so I didn't. But my mom researched it with me, so I found out knowledge.
Mhm. And that's also the topic that makes it conflicting, is that we feel like we don't owe responsibility, but there are people that are making it like forcing it as if now it is our responsibility because due to the damage they're putting to, like for example, the Catholic. It's
Yeah.
like they don't want you to know because there's a history and they want to remove that history too. And that does come conflicting, and knowledge is important to the person to know what's going on, and it makes you think critically whether or not it's valid or invalid, and you have to think logically over that aspect. So
Nowadays,
in
they have to teach it.
yes,
Like, I think it was
that's the
grade 7 was, no, what school was I in?
mhm,
What school? Out of the 7 schools. I think the 5th one. So
Dude,
grade 5.
the thing is, they're not teaching it. They're teaching you what they want you to know. So,
mhm,
like,
Yeah.
the thing
Like
about it
I
is that
learned more about it from my mom because she actually works with the population, and
mhm,
I find out things like that you wouldn't hear from the news or from a book.
mhm,
but the thing about it is that the stuff that isn't being told is what is incredibly important.
mhm,
Check this out. Uh, I'm not the only person. I just had this conversation last night with my mother's husband, and like me and him, we never talked about this until last night, and this information came out a couple months ago. The CIA killed JFK. Guess what? It's being suppressed and everything and such. You won't see that on the news. You won't see that anywhere. The CIA operated and assassinated the President of the United States of America.
Oh yeah.
If they can kill the president, they
Mhm.
can kill anyone they want.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that me sitting here talking about most of this shit, it makes me a target because I know a lot more information.
Mm.
But the thing about it is that no matter what, we are being divided,
Oh
literally
yeah.
putting everyone
Mhm.
into their own specific box. You know, what's the first thing you think about when it comes to like a Catholic priest?
Well, you're
Um.
taught things right when you're born, pretty much. Like I was born into a Catholic family. I have different beliefs now.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if what Aries is saying. Like, what is what you're taught is the question.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Like
So,
with
for example, we're taught that America bought, owned slaves, stole, did all that, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
But they never talk about how there was African warlords even to this day that are still doing slave trades and actually trying to sell to still North American countries. They are still
Mhm.
trying to sell and operate. There are these diamond mines down in Africa that are literally full of hundreds of thousands of slaves. And then when they find a diamond, they get like a reward, like a French fry or something. Like slavery is still going on to this day, no matter what the
Mhm.
fuck you may hear or think or say. Slavery is still going on because the thing is that here in America, we are still fucking slaves. We are still slaves to this fucking day. It does not matter in any type of nation. The thing about this is that our currency, our money. I have a $20 bill on me right here. This bill, it says Federal Reserve Note. Okay? Right on the top, Federal Reserve Note. Check out a $20 bill or whatever, it will say the same shit. That is a fancy terminology saying that this currency is a loan. The United States government does not own its money. Our money was backed by the gold standard. Back when Nixon was president, he abolished that. So then this way we couldn't take our $20 bill and go get $20 worth of gold.
Mhm.
That's the thing. So our money is a loan. There's nothing back in our currency. Our economics right now is based on gold and oil, but yet everything falls onto the trade market. So, with all this being said and done, when it comes to this racism and sexism shit, when people talk about the majority of the stuff that happens, they are not talking about the larger picture. Think about this, right? If we had a civil revolution right now, like just right now, let's say all internet, all power, everything went down, and then you had to stack up with people or else you're going to be killed. You're going to go with your diversity, right? So, like for me, I'm in the mountains, rednecks, I'm going to be with rednecks. Tommy, you're going to be with your people. Scully, she's probably going to go to Korea. It's a joke, but the thing about it is that we are literally dividing ourselves. We should be
Mhm.
one for all and all for one. This is
Mhm.
our nation. And yet, what we are doing is dividing each other, segregating ourselves, putting each other in little districts and doing all this little shit. Like, here, we're gonna do this, but I'm gonna be over here with my people. You go over there with your people. And then in about 20 years, let's go to war with each other.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I
Like,
think there's a just yeah, you're correct, and I think
Yeah.
there's a distraction as well too. When you think about it, we have issues, but more racism's kind of covering up half of the our issues here too. And it's like one is struggling and asking for help, and then the other community is like, "Oh no, screw your feelings. It's all about us." And it's come to a point where we realize that we all need to be together because I feel like it's a trap where people are saying, "Oh, but you're not part of this group because of this X, Y, and Z." And it's like,
Mhm.
why is there a question between that if you're still the part of that group? Like your blood, you're half blood, yes, but you may be a mix of something, but it doesn't exclude you from that community at all.
But we are all still born in the same fucking nation and we still have the same goddamn values. We both want what's
Yes.
best for not only ourselves but also our loved ones. And even if we see like a random person walking down the street in trouble, we still help them.
Yes.
Mhm.
We all do the same shit. It's just we have different values and different perspectives, but yet we all have the same goal and the same like shit in mind. When it comes to like fucking making money, okay? I know
Mm-hmm.
the economics is going to be like the next podcast or whatever, but when it coming to making money, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are segregated into 4 different districts, okay? You got the poor people who fucking like work their goddamn asses off and then lives in squalor and misery and shit. Then you have like middle class who work like higher class jobs with like better educations and they're like living lavishly, right? But then you got the
Mhm.
rich fuckers, okay? You got the rich fucks, and those guys don't work at all. They're just like the CEOs, whatever. They're just those dogs. The fourth district is the government, and no one ever talks about this. Has anyone ever been to Washington D.C.?
No.
Neither have I.
Not yet.
But the thing about this is that in Washington D.C., you go to any of the national monuments, you go on the main roads, etc. They're all fucking pristine, beautiful, pretty. You go anywhere in the residential area, you are at risk of being assaulted, either, which kind of way you want to think about it. But then they also will rob you, kill you, carjack you. That's Washington, D.C. The numbers of the crime rate in Washington, D.C. are up by 900%.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a second. The capital of our fucking nation is 900% more crime ridden. Just this fucking like section. That is fucking scary as shit. Now, check this out. This is gonna piss a lot of people off. I don't give a fuck. Um, oh shit. What do you guys think about Donald Trump?
All over the place, I can tell you that, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
really, like, it's burning fire heavily.
yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
The thing is that like, do I like Donald Trump? No. Do I like Donald Trump? Yes. Counter conflicting messages right there, right? The dude is literally all over the place. Seems like he can't make a coherent thought and all this other shit. But yet the dude, when it comes to business, fucking running the country and shit, he did some insane shit. He should have the fucking Nobel Peace Prize right now. He literally got the Taliban to sign a fucking peace treaty. And dude, this dude, literally, as he's in office, he's sitting down with the Taliban leader and he says, like, don't cause me any problems or like shit like that. And then sent the Taliban leader a picture of his own fucking house.
Mm.
Just like straight up. Like, I'll murder you and your entire family.
Oh.
We have never had a president do that type of shit before. All the other presidents fucking like pussyfooted around and made it so that like they wouldn't like, you know, step on any toes or something like that. And they're like, whatever. And then Donald Trump, he's just like, fuck it. Here's send a picture of his house, and then I'll just send him a threat. And then the
Mm.
Taliban leader's like, "Oh, I don't want to fuck with him."
Mhm.
And here's something even crazier, Ken. When it comes to this type of shit, Russia was planning on attacking Ukraine, but they decided not to do it because Donald Trump was president. And even China advised them not to do it.
Mm.
China also said to do it after the Olympics because it was taking a while. But like, god damn. But you want to know
Mhm.
something else that's even more fucked up?
Mm.
What?
So like with all this racism shit, the Chinese government installed TikTok and then everyone's just upset with it. Everyone loves it, whatever. The thing is that there has been 3 cells found at every single major protest in New York, in LA, and then I think the other one was like somewhere in down south. But like these three massive protests that cost literally like three something billion fucking dollars in damages and shit. There were offices with hundreds of employees in them, and none of them were American. They were Chinese. And their job was to send subliminal messaging, making and producing these signs and getting people to go in an uproar. This is proven.
Mm.
And I just sound like a conspiracy theorist right now.
Mm.
Don't I?
Yeah.
Mm.
But y'all motherfuckers know me for years, and y'all know that if I'm talking about something, I have proof.
Mhm.
That's the scary thing. And then these fucking balloons that are flying around, it's just making people a lot more fucking agitated and like, fucking like, ooh, we're gonna get into a conflict. Let's go. You know? But like
Yeah.
it's getting a lot worse. Where I can see our nation heading is that there's going to be a large demographic that just want violence and they're gonna start it. I'm worried for another civil revolution. I'm very worried for it.
I mean, the way things are gonna are going with Ukraine and things are going with everything else, things are gonna eventually there's probably gonna be a World War III.
Uh,
There's gonna be another revolution.
China starting that shit.
Oh yeah. But I can't say some things because I know people in the army and whatever, and they know things like way before everyone else.
Yep.
But it's gonna get there.
But
Mhm.
it's ungodly on the amount of information that is like being hidden from us right now.
Oh yeah, there's so much information that's hidden and
Hidden.
hidden,
Hidden.
hidden. There we go.
Mhm.
Hidden. Here we go. Yeah, brain.
And it,
See an enemy.
and there's some information. It's a weird one, but I've been seeing this a lot. But when there's fact on fact information, right? There are two conflicts between two different situations, and it makes you think which one's the truth because it's kind of hard to pinpoint which one has the right concept, you can say.
Well, see, that's
And
the thing. Uh, the information that is hidden, we are not told about it in any shape, way, or form. The fake information that you're describing is like how we sent and spent over 20 years in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that shit fighting Taliban, fight against terrorism and raiding these warehouses that were supposedly holding like biological and nuclear weapons and shit, but they were just empty boxes covered in dust and rat shit.
Mhm.
That's the fake information you're talking about. The information I'm talking about that's hidden is like how the CIA assassinated JFK, or how Abraham Lincoln was sending letters and wrote them, and they are in the Library of Congress right now. And these letters literally describe how he was staring at Niagara Falls, and he said, and specifically said, staring at this beautiful magnificent uh, natural place, just like how thousands of years ago the ancient race of giants stared upon it as we do today.
Mm.
Like, what the fuck?
Well,
Yeah.
that was a history, but I'm just referring to now. My bad.
Oh no, I
Like
know,
now.
but like, dude, the shit we don't know about now, we may never know.
There's yeah,
Yeah.
there's a shit ton the things that armies have and whatever, and you wouldn't find out unless you were a high rank or whatever.
Hmm.
I'm
Not even
supposed
that.
to go on a I'm supposed to go on a trip in Europe, but because my parents know someone who's very high up in rank, they they said don't go, even though this is very far away from Ukraine.
Mm.
That
Or
doesn't even
look at
matter.
it,
That doesn't even
check
matter.
the
Poland's being
war.
fucking bombed right now.
I know that's I even know things because my family lives right at the border of Ukraine and Poland. So
Mhm.
they even told my grandparents, "Don't come, like it's horrible." And my grandparents have lived through like when the Germans came or whatever. Like the Germans didn't just kill Jews; they killed Polish people. They killed everyone. And
Oh,
people
yeah.
just say just the Jews, but no, they killed everyone.
Yep.
And like I find out all this information that I was never taught, but I find out from my grandparents and their grandparents told them because they were little. And I'm like, oh.
It's even worse than that. I mean, like, do you guys remember the conflict between Russia and Ukraine already?
Mm.
hmm
No, not this current one. The one with Stalin.
Uh, I think it was like,
Stalin starved over 5 million Ukrainians to death. And that was before he started like genocide and shit. That's before, like, even in Russia, dude, this dude, he he was digging like some trench in his backyard and he stumbled upon a mass grave.
Mm.
And the dude was arrested and executed for it. You want to know why?
Mm.
It was
what?
Stalin's mass graves. And they hide the truth that they did that type of shit. The thing about this is we're like, I know we're kind of like veering off a little bit, but this racism shit, it's not just spanning to just today. This is shit that's been building up for a very long time. But where we are going is not to this extent. We're basically gonna end a fucking world.
Yeah.
Because like Scully, your generation right now is the smallest generation in history of like the United States and shit. The thing about this is that when it comes to this type of shit, the elderly people who are now retiring, your bills and everything are gonna come a lot more high because guess what? We have to pay for their shit.
hmm
But like when it comes to this type of shit, the people who get fucked over the worst is like African Americans and all this other shit. So here's one key thing here. I know how to end every single fucking wrongful death of every person in America. You know,
Mm.
get shot by the police, right? Let's say I am an African American and I get shot on the street. I'm killed. I didn't break any laws. I didn't do anything bad. You want to know what happens?
Mm.
The insurance company will go after the police department. The reason why is because I would have a life fucking policy of 200, 400, or $600,000 on me. And a wrongful death makes it so that the city has to pay for it. And these life insurance companies, they don't want to pay a goddamn dime. And they have the best goddamn fucking lawyers in the world. So these motherfuckers are gonna fucking sue the shit out of the cops, out of the city, and just everything they can, just so they don't have to pay out a goddamn dime.
Mm.
That's how you end every single unlawful death.
Oh, it's written in there with life insurance, basically.
No shit. So the thing
Because I,
about this is that this isn't gonna get taught. This isn't gonna be there because guess what? They don't want to go through the headache. They don't want to go through all this pressure. They don't want to have to deal with anything as such. But if we make this information public, oh, then motherfuckers start getting the life insurance policies. They start getting out of like the ghettos, out of the hoods, etc., shit like that. Or they can just improve their hoods. In Detroit, these motherfuckers, these gangs, they stopped shooting each other. They stopped like actually fighting, you know, gang violence, you know, where you drive down the street and go pop, 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 right? These
Mhm.
motherfuckers, they started paintball wars.
Mm.
Yeah, they started paintball wars where like instead of doing a drive-by with 9 mil, they drive by with paint. Literally, pull up, pop, pop, pop with a paintball gun.
hmm
Where's the harm in that? I don't know, but the police shut it down, saying that you can't be doing this type of shit. And if we catch people with these paintball guns, they will be shot on sight.
better than getting fucking shot.
No shit. But it also
Eh,
makes it so that, no innocent deaths. You do a drive-by, you don't know who the fuck is in the house. You could have an army of toddlers, that you're doing the daycare system for. You don't know. But the thing about it is
Mhm.
that the cops, they stopped it. They said that if you had a paintball gun and we saw you with it, you'd be shot to death.
mhm. I think I remember there was a certain class I took years ago, and it talked about like those type of backgrounds of cops using like actual jail, like people that went into jail, and the most common were like certain ethnicities, which are the blacks, the Mexicans, and so on. There was like a list. Usually whites was a little bit higher, but they tend to stereotype. And they mentioned, I think a professor mentioned saying that they use based on those statistics, but to stereotype these people, expecting, this to happen, but it overdoes it and it's not supposed to be used that way. As a cop, you're
Mhm.
supposed to, you know, be more observant, logical, reasonable, use all those qualities as a cop. But what people are using is just the statistics, and that's nothing more. And they're not thinking about like this person's a person.
Yep.
They already thought the person's just a criminal just based on the first moment they see them.
Mhm.
And
So,
this brings
you,
us. Sorry, I'm going to use this as a segue because this is a good time to do this. Uh,
mm,
and this brings us to today's sponsor, guns.
mm,
Let's end slavery.
okay.
What? No, that's a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, dude, think about it, right? No, but I'm sorry, hold up. Before I go on a little tangent, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, call me a bitch. I don't give a shit. It helps with the algorithm. Thank you. Uh, but no, for real, like the end slavery. Yeah, no, we are slaves right now. All of us right now in this call, we are slaves. Because what the fuck
Technically
do
in
we
the
do?
system.
What the fuck do we do?
Hmm.
We work. We make money. The government takes more than half of our money. Guess what? And the super rich, they don't pay anything in income tax. We pay their share. The one percenters, we don't pay as like enough in the government's eyes. And that's because the one percenters pay zero in income tax. You know why?
Yeah.
Mm,
And I've been
Why?
doing a fuckload of research on this shit. These motherfuckers, they don't get paid in actual money. They get paid in stock, shares, bonds, etc. Shit like that. Residential shit, like a house, whatever. They don't get paid on shit that can be taxed. Then what they do is they go to a bank and get a loan for like, let's say, $4 million, okay? They take their bonds, their shares, their stocks, whatever, and put that down as collateral for that loan. So they have $4 million that is untaxed and cannot be taxed because it is not theirs. It's a fucking loan.
mhm,
So these
Mhm.
rich people, the reason why they are in debt is because they don't pay taxes. If we became really famous and we were making like 100,000, $250 million straight off Twitch or YouTube, wherever the fuck else we are, right?
Mhm.
We made $50 million each of us. The government's going to take half of it.
oh yeah.
Every single
Yeah.
one of us. But you want to know how I've been talking about we're going to turn Outlawz into a company and all this other shit?
Mm,
Mhm.
It's because when Outlawz is making serious money, we're going to be paying each other in stocks and bonds and shit like that. Then you're going to be able to go to a bank and get loans. And then you will have millions of dollars that are going to be untaxed, uncut, and registered. So you will have millions of dollars of currency at your disposal. It will not only grow your tax credit, but it will also make it so you are a fucking multi-billionaire. Not
mm,
only that, but guess what, motherfuckers?
mm,
Our stock, our shit, it's going to collapse. But all of this financial shit still goes down to racism because guess who the demographic is that doesn't know the most?
Mm.
Poor people. Who are the poor
Mm.
people?
Minorities.
Everyone.
Oh,
Everyone who is a fucking slave. Everyone. If you aren't a one percenter, you're a slave.
mm.
We are
Well,
all
it's like
we are
yeah,
all fucked.
Yeah, because you literally work, spend money. Meanwhile, the government takes taxes, so you can't do things that you want to do, like travel or see the world or actually spend your fucking life.
And what makes it worse is you can't leave the place. They'll force you to stay here because
Mm-hmm.
it's expensive just to move out.
It's worse than
And
that. It is way
yeah,
worse than that. What you
and
guys
you
are
still have to
talking
pay
about,
taxes.
what you guys are talking about is normal life. Think about this. You get a paycheck, right? You got to pay income tax on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then when you go shopping, you got to pay tax on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else do you
I'm
get
pretty sure
taxed on?
Canadians pay more tax than Americans. No, with groceries and whatever. You
Maybe, but I'm not
because
talking about a
so
particular thing. See, what I'm talking about is the whole picture, not just a particular thing, just like buying groceries and just marking that off the list. No, I'm talking everything. You get taxed when you get your money. You get taxed when you spend your money. You get taxed when you don't spend your money. Think about that for a second. You put your money in a bank. If you don't meet a certain criteria to have that amount of money in the bank, you get taxed for having that money in the bank. Not only that, if you don't have a certain amount of money in your bank, they will charge you an extra fee. Like Wells Fargo, if you have like $200 in your bank or something like that, 300 or 400, if it's less than 500, I think the cap is, they charge you $10 a month.
Oh yeah, they put a fee over it as if it's a maintenance fee.
Exactly. But the
yeah,
thing
I don't
is that it makes no sense at all.
right now because I have a student account and I'm not even getting minimum wage. I don't have to deal with that, especially if only having like $12 right now. I finally got a job.
That's good.
But yeah, like I don't know if my parents or whatever, but like I'll ask my mom for money beforehand, like before like I understood money. Now when my brother asks for a game that's like, $10, my mom's like, "You're using your money." And then he has a whole fit about it, but I'm like, "You don't understand money and you'll understand it eventually." But like sometimes like cuz my mom will pay half of my like uh bill or whatever for something. Or like I'll ask her for money. I feel bad for asking because she still has to pay for taxes. She still has to pay for like hydro, electrical. Well, that's the same thing, but like all those bills, and it all adds up. And then there's no money to spend for groceries. Like
Mm-hmm.
most average adults are like $5,000 in debt or more if
Yeah.
you're in the city.
Mm-hmm.
See, my family right now, we are currently in debt of like I think $300,000 total.
Yeah.
Like the family, like 8 grand for like a Dodge Charger, fucking 20,000 for my mother's student loans, like 200,000 for the fucking house, shit like that. The thing about it is that as a working class American, you'll never become wealthy. Like back in the day, they said like, "Oh, put $100 away every single day, and then when you'll have enough to be able to retire when you're like 60 or something like that." Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that the currency could go up, it could go down. You know, the old people who they say like, "Oh, back in my day, it cost like a fucking nickel to buy a candy bar, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe in our day it's gonna cost $100 for a loaf of bread.
I mean, I hate
Yeah.
that I hate
I
that
mean, the
concept
way
though.
things are going,
Yeah.
like, I mean, you literally get a page. So me and my friends, we like hang out a lot. My friend is a very much spender. She feels like when she's older and she's like she's gonna have $100,000 a year, cause she's gonna be a nurse. Meanwhile, me and my friend are gonna be getting less than like 45,000 a year, but we want to do these jobs. She's like throwing in our faces. She's gonna be like, I'm gonna buy Gucci stuff. I'm gonna buy like Prada, whatever. And we're gonna be like, you're gonna lose all your money. Like it's not like that you're gonna get like $100,000 a year. There's like you'll probably be only getting like 30 with everything, like bills. Your like the amount of money that she'll be spending with her school tuition because she wants to spend thousands of dollars on her school, but she's still gonna have to pay it off throughout the years, and like all of that like annoys me. And
Yeah.
then like we're out and whatever, spend like let's say $10 just on 24 cookies, like the cookies you put in the oven. $10 just for one, because we wanted to make cookies for her sleepover. But then she complains that why are we paying for it? Meanwhile, we're the only two who have to pay for gas, have to pay for bills, and she doesn't clean the house. She doesn't do anything. So when she's in the real world, she's gonna get like a whole boom.
A reality check, really. But like, check this out, right? When it comes to this type of shit, I don't understand why people don't fucking just think about this. Let's say you had all the money in the world, right? All the money you would ever want or need, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are gonna like buy expensive clothing, like Gucci, whatever, you know? You're still a fucking slave. You might have all the freedom you might ever want and need, but you're a fucking slave because you're buying clothes that degrade. You're buying shit that is just like seen as a status quo, you know? Think about this, right? You see a guy driving a fucking Bugatti down the street. What's your first initial thought?
Money?
Yeah,
Yeah,
rich.
most people think rich, drug dealer, you know, shit like that. Because here's the one thing you could never in your fucking life work a normal job, 9 to 9, and saved enough money for a goddamn Bugatti.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it is that the people who buy these expensive things, the people who buy that crazy shit, the difference is that they have found a way and freed themselves because they don't have to like do all that crazy shit. They don't. There's a way where, like in society nowadays, check this out, Scully. If you wanted to make $50,000 in 10 minutes, I know a way you could do it. But you want to know what it will cost you?
What?
Everything. Your livelihood, your sanity, respect, everything. Just everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you would make $50,000 in like 10 minutes. For me and Tama, for us to make $50,000 at our current stage right now, we would have to work an entire year and we would still make half of that. Yeah, we are
Like
slaves to our fucking society.
you have to spend money to make money with
No,
college and
no,
university.
no,
No, with college and university to get an education, to get like good money,
no,
you're spending a lot of money.
no.
There's a there is a 50-50 on that one. Depends on which section you're at.
Like if
No,
you're
Uh,
only in the trades,
any,
not that
any
much.
anything you learn, you can learn it somewhere else and be better. Those trades you're talking about, right? I'm assuming you're talking facility maintenance, like electrical, plastering, masonry, carpentry, welding, right?
Yeah, like
Those
trades, cooking, baking, that's also
you
a trade.
you don't need a college education for any of that. I am certified in every single field that you name. Every field that we just named, even baking, like culinary.
Mm-hmm.
I have certs for it. My parents, they own a fucking restaurant. I am facility maintenance certified. Government. I didn't go to college. The thing about it is that college is a waste of goddamn money. Tama knows this. I told him so many goddamn times that he shouldn't be spending a goddamn penny on college. And then, like, what, 2 years later, he gets real pissed off and he's like, Aries, fuck this shit. And I'm like, what? And he's like, my college, they went free. Like, huh. The thing about it is that we are fucking slaves to our society. We're made to think that we need to get an education when we really don't. All that college does is make you think that you are learning something when all they are doing it is testing you to see if you are a reliable human being, making sure you can go to work on time, shit like that. That's all it really is.
But the only thing is, like, so let's just say with nursing, my friend's going into nursing. You're spending a lot of money for that because you can't go into a hospital without, like, for example, being a surgeon, you need to go through medical school to do that. Like, you're spending a lot of money, but like, you can't just go into a hospital and be like, I want a job. Meanwhile, you haven't gone to medical school.
You
But
can.
with trade,
You can. That's how my mother got a job. The thing about it is that if they value her as an actual employee, they'll pay for the entire medical shit. They'll pay for all of it, and you still get to work at the hospital as you're doing your schooling. My mother, she worked at Cross Creek. That's a prison detention system for like adolescents, okay? If you're under the age of 18, you can go to that facility basically. The thing is that she was working there. She was making good money. But she quit, and the reason why she quit is because she was going into medical. And as she did this, she automatically started off in a fucking elderly home. Automatically. Old folks home. And she was doing her college and shit. Then she started working at the hospital, psych unit, doing surgeries and shit, as she's still in the medical school.
Actually, let's work on this as well too. This is a graph because this is partially my demographic on this side too. Scully, you are correct in a certain extent. Aries, you are correct as well too in a certain extent. The reason why I'm saying this is because there's a division between both sides.
Exactly.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because I've seen it, and in my area, we're considered a low income. So there's a reason why I do agree with you, Scully, and there's a reason why I do agree with you, Aries, because there's a
Aries is
division.
going
There's a
like this time.
yeah, yeah. There's a whole division of which one's important and which one's less. And that's why I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna ask each one of you, right? This is gonna be very, very because I have a whiteboard for a reason. There's gonna be sections of the good, the bad, and the neutral. And the other one you can just leave whether or not to decide. Let's make that a little spicy.
Aren't you?
So, first one, let's go with the good. The most wealthiest of the wealthiest, the most common of the common.
Yeah, the
Ner-
wellness, yeah, the left nut.
yes, what has been praised for the biggest time. So, first one is nurse. That is the most high price of all, and I can vouch for that because they pay a price over here too. Doctor, yes. Business, yes. Depending on the variety, though, on the business. Teacher, yes. Administrator, yes. Depending on what section you go to. What else do you think you can come into mind right now that you think they'll earn the highest money?
Oh, oh. For like college, like you have to get
Through
into
college. Through college.
sports,
Well, yeah, sports.
like football, baseball, etc.
Yeah.
You have to
But
go to
it's
college, then you get scouted, and then all that type of shit. Then you can go to like the NFL, and then you can make more money than the goddamn president makes in a month
But
or
there's
yeah.
also
a year.
okay, but you could also take trades in college too. Meanwhile, you're spending money, but also I don't understand it sometimes.
I think trades, yes. It is a variety. It depends on what section you reach to, though.
Well, so
Yeah.
That is
I don't
depends.
agree with the trades because there's I like Scully, I don't know the Canadian system, but here in the United States, you don't go to fucking college to get trades. You go to a trade school here in the States.
We have like for colleges trades.
Yeah, here in the States, if you want to trade, you go to a trade school. You don't go to college.
Like some of the trade programs, you're like actually learning while getting paid, essentially.
Yeah, ours here doesn't do that.
Yeah,
I can tell you that for sure.
the only thing
100%.
the only thing you can
You
learn
know,
in college that would deal with a trade is like engineering or architecture, shit like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Engineering.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
but that's like, that's as high as you're gonna go. If you want to learn like I want to do basic carpentry, masonry, plastering, whatever, welding, you got to go to a trade school.
hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a college, yes, but it's just a different
Well,
mentality, I
see,
guess you can say.
our like you have different things because also your like schooling is different, like with college and university. Like college has like a lot of it's all hands on. So most of the trades programs, we have like an actual like some colleges have an actual just college just for the trades.
Yep.
Um and then like for university is all staring at a this is what my mom calls it. Staring at a whiteboard and not really learning anything from that.
Like this dude.
Hmm. Okay, which one's the second one? Let's go towards the non-educational route. Which one's the most high paid non-educational route? Like no college, just GED and that's it.
Um
What is the most common?
auto?
No, that
I
that's
can
that's basic.
I'm trying to think.
Stripper.
actually, yeah, you are correct on that. I
Okay,
am
I
gonna
thought
gonna lie.
yeah.
Okay, which one? What else? Because I know clerk is one of them, depending on the section of experience. You get
I
paid
mean,
well.
there
Gunsmithing.
are some there is some trades also. You just come out of high school and you can
Hmm.
go into it. Like for example, my teacher that I said that Aries like reminds me of my teacher or my teacher reminds me of Aries, like the way they make jokes and that shit. And they're like, if you have any comment, frets, concerns, like they always say threats or whatever. But okay, my dog just knocked over all the boxes over there. Um But so, like, he went into high school, then he went into some sort of auto.
Hmm.
Then he like decided to go into teaching. Now this is where he is now. But he was like, he literally went into automotive with just a high school diploma,
Yes, but it's
and
not worth that much unless you're a diesel mechanic, and then you actually need to get that type of education for a trade school.
he he
So
was like getting, I think he said 50 grand.
yeah, no, that ain't a lot at all.
Oh yeah, but it's like 10 grand less than how much he's doing in teaching.
Yeah, it really isn't that much, like at all.
Yeah.
Like strippers, they can make like 200,000 to 500,000 in a year.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It just depends on how attractive they are and how the strip club does their publicity. It also depends upon the region. So yeah,
Okay, so auto is technically still a good place. It just varies on what area. I can tell you that. It
N-
varies.
not even that. I know nationwide, including Canada, the only way to make a significant amount of money is by being a diesel mechanic, and that's going to be like 160,000, a little bit more too, maybe
Yeah.
200,000. But
So
that
let's just,
that requires an education.
yeah.
Yeah, so like
Frame.
Mm, okay, but all right. After auto or mechanic, because they can still be varied on the section. Like you said, yes, education as well too.
gunsmith.
Yeah, gunsmith is one too.
Because I know some motherfuckers who makes millions of dollars. Dude, there's this dude. Uh, he invented a weapon for the United States military, and he is worth billions now. And a lot of people don't even know who the fuck he is. He hangs out with the dudes from like Black Rifle Coffee Company, and this dude, you know Brandon Herrera, right?
Hmm.
So like you know how these dudes like Demo Ranch and all them, they have an arsenal of guns, and it's like, oh my god, so impressive, right? This dude goes to them, hangs out with them for a day, and puts all of them to shame. So like for every gun Demolition Ranch has, that dude has 100 more.
Mm, damn.
Yeah. So like where like Demo Ranch is like, oh yeah, I got like 3,000 guns or something like that. This dude, he's like, yeah, I remember when I was starting off too.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. I can tell you for sure where you're going with. Also, mines is one of them. Oil rigs, boarders, police, of course, gunsmith, bartenders as well, depending.
Mines don't pay that good.
So over here, mine actually does. It just varies on the area.
How
As
much
I say, hmm?
how much they pay?
Since the tip is quite different over here, they pay quite well enough, like to say 40,000 to 50.
Salary?
Salary, $20 an hour to 30, depending
That's
on the restaurants.
that is fucking nothing. No, so the mines in my area, they're
Oh, the mines. Oh, I thought you bartender, but okay, mines. I don't know.
okay. The mines in my area,
Uh
they're
huh.
radioactive.
For real?
Yeah, they are mining cobalt.
Damn.
You want to know how much they pay an hour?
Hmm.
$15.
Yeah, that's lowballed.
Yeah, you want to know
Yeah,
what the
I'm
safety protective
getting
equipment is?
what?
Rubber boots.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm getting paid 18, 17, and I'm a little student. They're working with radioactive shit.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I got people pressuring me like, "Hey, you should go work in the mines." And it's like, "Huh, I should get cervical cancer."
Okay, we'll put that as a mines as a question mark then, because that is a very, very
Yeah, but
weird.
but Tama, we don't got enough time for this.
No. All right, but okay. Through our whole discussion, right? I'm just gonna put the whole evaluation out of this, right? Depending on the certain jobs and aspects that is given, right? Between doctors to, you know, police officers,
Educated
or
against
it
uneducated.
and educated, it would have to vary around the place you live and the environment you live. But at the aspect of the education wise, that yes, I can see there's an issue because there are things in the education that is promised but not promised. So when you get out of the job, you don't have a job. So you have to go back to school and you're way over depth than what you asked for. But there are some that would guarantee yes, at the same time money, and it's an open market too. But there needs to be in that aspect a certain fix in the education system that needs to be worked around that because there's too many scams towards the education side that it's insane that it makes education stupid compared to people that work hard, which it's a good thing on their part. That's
I'm
why.
about to shatter your fucking world, man.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm about to do it, and
Dang.
I'm not really sorry for it. So you see how on your whiteboard how you have like educated and how like they make like a lot of money than uneducated?
Mm-hmm. They're both the same, dude, in some way.
It's less.
For yours?
No. The people who
Huh.
make a lot more money educated,
Mm-hmm.
they're making less. You want to know why?
Hmm.
They're in debt, motherfucker. They have to pay off all that shit. Then it's also taxed on that. So that the money that you're making off of that, oh, guess
Hmm.
what? You're getting a lot less than the motherfuckers working in the mine.
I
That's
wish I can.
true.
That is
I mean,
true.
that is true. You are having to pay off your student loans and shit.
Not just that, you got to pay taxes on that shit as well. And then you also got to pay taxes when you get the money. Then you also have to like put aside some of that for food. Guess what? You're not going to have enough for next month or whatever. So you're just going to be living paycheck to paycheck. And I noticed because this is exactly what the fuck happened to my mother. She has multiple different degrees, master's, bachelor's, associates. Guess what? There's not a day we did not eat ramen.
Mm. And I could agree with you on that one. And I got to tell you another on your side too. On my side, since the education on this side does pay off everything, which is scary because you say, oh, like you're not going to be a single day to pay off this, right? My side does. That's weird, but they don't go starving and hungry.
I mean,
So,
my best friend, he literally is getting his whole school paid because he's working in that sector right now.
mm-hmm.
But see, that's
And
like
that's like
scholarships.
20,000.
That's scholarships. That's shit like that. I'm talking paying out of cash, out of pocket. Where
Yeah,
like you
Mm-hmm.
and
stack that debt up, you just get that debt and then you have to work. And you work, they pay that certain amount, and then half your paycheck goes to the school that you got to get that job. And then this job, you're
mm-hmm.
saving that amount of money. Once you paid off this college debt, then your paycheck becomes bigger and you're like, oh my God, I'm making more money. Then you entered into a new tax bracket and they still take fucking more. The thing is
Mm-hmm.
that the one thing that people don't understand is still we are slaves to our society. You go to
Oh
college,
yeah,
you have to pay your debt, you have to pay all that shit, and then when you paid off that, you don't really get to keep a large amount of that money. It still goes to taxes because you entered into the new demographic of taxes because you're keeping a larger percent of the money. So you get
mm-hmm.
entered into a higher tax bracket. If you there's things where like if you're getting paid like $50 an hour or something like that, and like you get taxed like one more dollar, like if you made one more dollar instead of that 50, so you're making $51, so you could enter a brand new tax bracket. So like let's say you were being taxed, let's say 25%. So out of fuck it, $100 an hour, you're getting taxed fucking $25. You let's say you made $101, you could be taxed fucking 50%. So instead of you making $101, you're making 49 dollars after taxes. And all that happened is it was a $1 increase. This is a common
Mm-hmm.
fucking thing here in the United States. And one of the main demographics is that people don't know this shit because it is not taught. It is not thought about. So no matter
Yeah.
what, when it comes to this type of shit, we are still slaves even to this day, and it does not matter about your ethnicity, race,
No.
politics. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
We are all slaves, and the only way to become no longer a slave is to think about opening your mind, looking at things in a new light, and then thinking about what makes you happy and what you want to do to pursue. Because only then you will not be a slave to the hierarchy. You'll be a slave to yourself. You'll be free.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it in a whole new light. You can be in a hotel in LA, wake up at 5 in the morning, and then walk outside and smell the fucking exhaust from all the cars and all the people leaving to work, and you're just standing in there, just like, man, I want some breakfast. Walk over to a Del Taco or something like that and order a quesadilla. That dude's fucking groggy, tired, slaughtered basically. And you're like, yo, I'll take a quesadilla, two tacos, and some of your fries. And he's like, yeah, sure, here. And he gets all the shit ready and then starts bringing it out to you. And you're just sitting there and you're like, how much do you get paid an hour? And the guy could be like $12 an hour. And you're like, how many hours a week? And he's like, 60. How much is your take home? About 3,000, something like that. But you
Mm-hmm.
could make $50,000 right now in 5 minutes. Scully,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
can make over $50,000 in 5 minutes right now, easily. Me and Tama, we're fucked. We can't do that. We need a grind.
And
We need to work. Think about it like a chess game, okay? Like a chessboard,
mm-hmm.
right? The queen, she's able to just zip and slide across the board all willy fucking nilly type shit. The king, they have to move one square at a time. We have to work. We have to pay taxes. We have to invest, work, and grind our asses off, get the money, improve ourselves, and then be able to afford things like yachts, Bugattis, helicopters, guns, whatever. And then we're able to be there. The girls, they can see a guy with a yacht, and if they're hot, they can just walk up to the yacht and like, hey, can I come party? Done.
Mm. For sure, it's just a very conflicting thing when it comes to jobs. That's for sure. And yeah, our side is conflicted with the point of slaves. I think like we're slaves to the jobs. I think that's what I've read through some books that you eat, work, sleep, and then you repeat. Eat, work, sleep, repeat. Eat, work, sleep,
Mhm.
repeat, and
Yeah,
the final is your death. And
it's
And hopefully
mm,
there's enough money to give over to your kids.
mhm,
yeah. Like also like if you want kids, it's another like a lot of money gone
mhm,
too. Like
300 to
I
500,000, yeah.
like my English teacher, even though we're not like doing an economic you know whatever
See an
money
enemy.
class or whatever. Yeah, but yeah. All right. Anyway, um, so like he literally like the first few days he like we first did a poem or whatever. I don't remember what we did. I actually need to finish that, but um, so we did this sheet and he gave us the price of what we think how much you get from like out of out of high school or just out of elementary. Gave us the price for that. College and like how much you would get for that. Like he just gave us the prices, whatever. The amount of people who thought that like it was way more like college is getting way more than people out of just high school and not having education was insane. It was only like 5 grand less, I'm pretty sure. That's what I can't remember. The paper somewhere in
mhm,
my
Even after
bag.
taxes and all that shit, it's even less.
mhm,
Yeah, and then like afterwards we like the for rent here, the lowest amount was 3,000. You just got pretty much your whole month gone
Yep.
from that. Now you still need to pay for food. You still need to pay for like phone bills. You
Your
still need to
car,
pay for like car insurance,
a
like
girlfriend,
Wi-Fi, like all kinds of things. And
breathing.
then there was also like hidden hidden payments. So for kids to have a kid from 0 to 18, it is 200,000 that you're losing.
mhm.
Plus, if you want to pay for the college or whatever.
Yep. And see,
Then
with
there
all
is
this
like
being said
a
and done,
lot of things, gas and like that sheet gave me more of like a eye opening. Like I'm in grade 12 and I see that now.
Mhm.
I was in math class and I'm learning about pi and how to do 3 times 3. You know, I'm not learning about money. Like the school system's fucked.
so here's the thing.
There goes
Here's the thing. With all this being said and done, and I'm sorry, but this is entirely true. Uh, I have known about this for a very, very long time, and I just want to state this for the record.
Mhm,
Let's say World War III breaks out, the United States government collapses, all this shit, world goes to hell, right?
mhm.
Who's going to survive?
The
the
rich.
richest.
Let's say, putting all this aside, right? All of it, right? S- Tama, you're going to college. Scully, you're going into college. I haven't been to college. You guys have to work, save your money. Let's say you guys, bought Bugattis and all that shit. Let's say you got money. You're gonna have food in your house, right? I
Mhm.
do too. But there's one thing that's different between us. I got guns, motherfucker. I'm just saying, like that's how things are looking, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a breaching shotgun. Did anyone never even think why the fuck I bought this? Because I can shoot the hinges off your door from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this is what this is. There's no stock. Yes, I'm not flagging myself. It's behind me, you fucks. But you see what I'm saying? And it's on safety too. But the thing about it is that we are slaves to not ourselves. We are enslaved to companies, corporations, our government. We are on
Mm-hmm.
loan, basically. You work for a company, they're not going to pay you a large amount because they don't want you to become successful. They don't want you to make a lot of money and then quit after you have a certain amount saved up. And the government knows this as well. So guess what? They make it so that the prices go up because when it comes to economics, and that's going to be the next topic for the next time, we're all fucked and we're all just sitting here trying to do our work and shit. People say, like, oh, I think we're living in a simulation. They only believe that because their lives have no meaning, no value, no fucking anything. They
Mm-hmm.
eat, work, sleep, repeat. Like you
Yeah.
said, Tom,
Like,
that's exactly what they do. For me, I don't live in a simulation because I don't work for anyone except myself. My shit isn't taxed because I don't make enough to get taxed, but I make enough to be able to buy guns that win and
Mm-hmm.
explosives. But like, think about this. No matter what, we are slaves and we are all divided.
Well, it's one of the things, yeah. Well, it is technically because there is a book based on that too. I learned that from college too. It's like based on money and well, yeah, money, commodities, and quantities, basically. All three concepts. It's like a math formula and how the system works
mm-hmm.
and how companies actually do, you know, extort, you can say, other employees based on their, skills, you can say.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but we're all just slaves. We're all
Yeah.
just chilling here, trying to meet ends meet, try and live, have a happy life. It'll never be enough.
The
Mm-hmm.
matter of the system, how it's made.
But then when you
That's where it's at.
expose the system and shit and you become wealthy as fuck and people look up to you, then you get canceled. That's when you get crucified. That's when everything goes south for you and that's when you get destroyed. That's when everything gets ripped apart from you. Because like whatever the fuck you think about Andrew Tate, whatever the fuck you think about him, horrible human being, cool dude, whatever. Dude spit facts. Dude spit the truth. Whatever he
Mm,
did, if he is sex trafficking, he's a horrible human being. I don't know. I don't know if he did. I don't know. But I do know the shit that he says, a lot of it is true.
mm,
A lot of it. And this motherfucker knows a shitload of stuff, and yet people want to crucify him for speaking the truth. It's peculiar because think about it like this, right? Whose life would you rather live? Yours or his?
fine.
I'd rather live his. You know why?
Mm,
All the fucking cars, all the guns, the money. Dude has 10 of millions of dollars in his banks. Dude
mm,
travels the world freely. He does whatever the fuck he wants. He tricks people, manipulates them, exploits them, just like how a normal corporation does it. The dude just opened his brain and went into the matrix and said, fuck you. I'm taking control.
Mm.
The dude was famous in
Mhm.
Romania before he was even famous anywhere else. In Romania, he can go to a club and there would be literal women fighting each other, like literally ripping hair out, clawing at each other and shit, just to get into the VIP room with him. So like,
Mm.
whatever the fuck you think about him, I don't know what to think about him. He could be good, he could be bad. I don't know. But the dude spits facts. And no matter what, that's why I say like we are fucking slaves because our money is not our money. If you look at any $20 bill, it will say Federal Reserve Note. It's fancy terminology for saying loan. So no matter what, we don't own our money. We don't own ourselves. We don't own shit.
Mm.
That's the thing. The way to get out is to make a fuckload of money. And even then, you'll still be killed, just like how the CIA killed JFK.
Mhm.
Man, it makes me think about if Martin Luther King was killed by an actual just racist fuck or the government.
Yeah.
Because
Kind
that's,
of feels like both.
well, I mean, like with JFK, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We just thought it was a dude who was just upset about the politics and shit. And then literally the CIA comes out, years later and says, yeah, no, we killed him.
Give me 1 second.
See you next week.
Mhm.
What do you mean? What's the difference, Lynn?
Um,
Chat.
oh,
Lynn asked a question like, what's the difference? The government and racists. Okay. So the difference between the government and the racists is that the governments hide their shit so fucking well that they just kill whoever they don't see, like fit and shit. So Grand Boyer. But yeah, no, this shit with this, right? Like it doesn't like we see each other, but we don't respect each other. Like if you look at me, I look like the redneck, the guy who lives out in the mountains, fucking guns, like ready for a fight. But like, most people see me and they think I'm like racist as fuck.
mm.
Bitch, I grew up on the outskirts of Vegas. The majority of the music I listen to is Tupac, 50 Cent. Like, hmm, interesting, right? No, that's my culture.
Fair.
That's what I grew up around. The first song I ever remember listening to is "Fack" by Eminem. I'm in a booster seat in the back of the car, facing the fucking rear seat, and it's playing on the radio. My mother's driving. Like, yeah.
I gotta. I think the question you asked a while back with the government and the races, I feel like it's both now when you think about it.
Oh no,
Because
it's always been like that. It's just the government
yeah,
hides it and would kill anyone who exposes it.
I know. And right
So,
now the news is kind of opening up like more of like it's right in the open. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
but like
So it's in,
here's
hmm?
what I see the significant differences. Racists, they don't hide their shit. The government, they hide their shit. They need to become politically correct so they get your vote. Think about this. Black Lives Matter once every 4 years. The fucking Black History Month. That shit, even Morgan Freeman was on the fucking news saying, "Do you want a Black History Month?" And the reporter's like, "I'm Jewish," and he's like, "Do you want a Jewish month?" And he's like, "No," and he's like, "So why do we have to have a Black History Month?" The way to end racism is to stop talking about it. And the way we have to stop talking about it is by understanding the conflicts that is coming about it. We are dividing ourselves, and it has been installed by the government just to make it so that we divide ourselves. So then we constantly get into conflict with ourselves. We keep thinking that, you know, women get paid less than men when it's all equal ranges. It's just that men put their lives on the line when women, they're not expected to do our kind of work. I know people who literally are overhead linemen who literally hang from power lines that are dangling thousands of feet, and all they have for protection is a carabiner.
Hmm.
The thing about this is that some people even work in a helicopter and do overhead lineman work. These jobs are significantly dangerous as fuck. And we do
Mhm.
it because it's what we're supposed to do. This is
Mhm.
why I say, like, we are divided. We are fighting each other. We do not respect each other. You see a person with dark skin and he's homeless. Guess what the difference between me and the majority of Americans are going to do?
Mhm.
Majority of Americans are going to walk past him, think nothing of it. I'm going to look at my wallet and see how much money I have. And then I'm going to see what I need and then what he needs. That's the difference. Because I
Mhm.
want to help people. I want to do as much as I possibly can. If I can get the dude a fucking apartment or a fucking hotel for the night, get it some food in his stomach, you know, get him some entertainment, have him laugh, take him to a bar, maybe have him like start improving his life, get him a job. That's the difference. I'm here to help. The government isn't. So no matter what, in any type of situation, any which way you look at it, we are dividing ourselves. We are making it so that we have to fight each other. We are literally destroying not only our nation, but each other. The suicide rate upon men is increasing every fucking day, and no one ever wants to talk about it because men are supposed to be the strong individuals that are supposed to protect each other. When literally you go up to a woman, you give her a compliment, it's normal.
Mhm.
If any person went to a guy and gave them a compliment, they will remember it for their lives. That's the difference between this shit. That's how divided we are. No one goes up to a guy and says, "Hey, your beard, it's looking really good." I can count on one hand how many times people have talked to me about my beard, and three of them
Mhm.
were gay dudes.
Mhm.
And yes, I go to those bars. Fuck off. Anyways, but that's what I'm getting at.
Uh,
Like,
oh, I get your concept though, but at the same time, it feels like it needs to be discussed all in one. Like all of us need to just discuss it in one whole group and say, "Hey, we have an issue. Let's fix it." Not just stall it every single time.
there's no way to do that because everyone wants to go for the fucking jugular.
And
Like,
that's the
fuck.
thing. It needs to, I feel like that needs to be that point because, yes, everyone's trying to make an endless loop of which one's more important than the other, but it needs to be discussed regardless of the situation. It's like one cannot be better than the other, too. There is a certain struggle within each community, each
Yeah.
each aspect of it, and it makes it very tough. And that's the reason why I think the term, and I think I got what you meant as well too, about the history, like the history months and everything. If you want to get rid of that, you got to get rid of racism as in total itself. And if you get rid of one thing, remember history does repeat itself too. So we don't want to go through the same situation too.
It only repeats itself if we do not look at the history and learn from it.
Mhm.
And guess what?
Hmm.
What history are we not being taught here?
Hmm.
I mean, like, come on. Do you see on the news how the CIA killed JFK?
No,
No.
Exactly. So we're not going to learn from our past.
no. That's also the thing, teaching it too. I can tell you one thing. Our here over here where we live, you want to know something? The Mexican culture, Hispanic culture is not even taught here. There's no history, but there is a history, a deep history, a horrible one. There is so much that no one knows that I had to learn through college. And the thing about it is that there is a certain exclusion of like what the government wants to teach or not.
Exactly.
And that's the issue we have. We all need to come in together and talk about the issues. What is our history? What was our issues? What can we say we all agree in to fix this? Because we're all dividing.
I
And no
mean,
matter
with
what, we're just going
Mhm.
to keep going at each other's throats until this gets resolved. And it will never be resolved unless we literally work together.
Mhm. Oh,
yeah, I
ScoliQueen.
mean with the older generation, they do not want to take this. like for example, when I tell my grandma not to tell, like say for example, indigenous, they call them Indians, but that's considered racist or like not a right term nowadays. Um, but she still ends up doing it, and she's like, "Oh my god, it's fine." I'm like, "No, it's not. Like, would you call a black person the N-word?" And she's like, "But that's different." I'm like, "No, it's not." Like, older people aren't changing, and that's what's happening. It's just
No,
And
coming
in
back and back.
it isn't even that. I mean, like Lynn here, she brought up a good point. Ending racism will never happen. Unfortunately, you can talk about it until you turn purple in the face. And she's entirely correct about that. Like, the thing about it is that we can talk about it as much as we fucking want and it will never change anything. However, the way to change things is by actually doing shit. But no one's ever going to do anything because, like, the people who want to talk about it want to expose it for, like, fucking exposure, get their ratings up, get their numbers up, and shit like that. We are a small time fucking little company and shit. And even we are doing this. And I gave you motherfuckers the options to do this before. I gave you, we could talk about economics or talk about sexism and racism.
Mhm,
Literally,
Yeah.
I set this entire thing up just
mhm,
for this fucking point right here. Because even mass corporations are doing this type of shit. CNN, MSNBC, fucking Fox. No matter what, this shit is just like that. And yet,
mhm,
I could have not said anything, but I'm making this fucking point right now. Literally, this will get nothing accomplished, get nothing done. However, the only way to get it done is by acting, by doing something. So here's what I want to say. When it comes to the future, if we make homeless shelters, if we are running fucking, food kitchens and farms and all that type of shit, what my end goal is to do is to obliterate racism, to obliterate starvation in our nation, to
Mhm.
obliterate fucking homelessness in our nation.
mhm,
I don't give a fuck if you can work or not. I'm gonna take care of you. Because that's what the fuck we should be doing. We should care for one another and not just for ourselves. And the way I'm gonna make money off of this is the fucking federal government.
mhm. I do have the question though that still comes into mind, the racism part. If there's an endless loop, right? And it's a never ending, how do we solve that? In your opinion, like, how do you solve that? I need to know that as well too.
I'm sorry. I was reading chat. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know how the topic you explained, right? Saying that racism is never ending, right?
Yeah.
That's the situation, right? In your opinion, how do you solve it? That's the question I'm asking you. Like, if
Okay.
you want to end
So
racism,
so
how
check
do you
this out.
solve it?
Um, this is a really interesting construct to fucking talk about right here. Cause like back, all right, after slavery, when African women and men were like married in their countries, Congo, doesn't matter, South Africa, whatever, like when they were like married and like doing their stuff there, the men, they would have multiple girlfriends, and like all that shit. And like the wives, they didn't care. They did not. Like it was whatever, and like they just rampant, just having sex, doing their thing, whatever. And then when the Western values came to play and it started spreading like a plague, that's when jealousy started coming to play. That's when like all the hatred shit and all that stuff started to come into play. And it was just like fucking becoming rampant as shit. The way to end racism is to never have it in the first place. That's the way you get fucking rid of it. To never have it in the first place. We are
Never.
all American. All right.
Yes, and that's a good reason, but it's still trying to like I'm trying to get this in my mind. I want to make sure that I don't want to fall into ignorance, ideology on my side. So I want to see like, okay, so if you want to get rid of it, where how do you prevent it too? Because we do live in a day and age where malice, like people of malicious intent, will go as far as anywhere to ruin it.
So
How would you make it impossible for them to do it?
there's three ways to go about it basically. One, it gotta
Mm-hmm.
get taught in school. Have the
Mm-hmm.
kids, like understand like the fucking construct that we are all Americans and how like I mean like white people, we're not even fucking native to this land. We came here and then slaughtered the people who lived on this land for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the fuck? Like there are carvings in like paintings in fucking caves and shit, and they literally have what's a dinosaur with a long neck eats from trees and shit, whatever.
Uh,
There's literally drawings in like Egypt region, and these drawings and shit, they literally have people riding these dinosaurs.
okay,
Like what the
I
fuck?
need to go. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go.
No, you just told me like like you're like, what's a dinosaur? And now it's in my brain, so I need to find out, or
Oh,
else I'll go
Mm-hmm.
crazy for the night.
but yeah, no, the thing about
That's
this is that the way to end racism is to never have it in the first place. That's the way to do it. So like instead of indoctrinating the kids and like showing them like, hey, we did slavery and all this other shit, the way to just deal with that is
the
to
horror top.
it's whatever. But like we talk about it and then we talk about how we're all fucking human and whatever, like all that hippie love shit. I mean,
Oh, so basically, it's like the whole history at once, basically.
kinda, yeah, but we can't leave information out. That's the thing
No,
about it,
that's
because like as
that
of
that.
right now, so much information is being lost because there's fucking like slave owners back in the day who like when the Confederate War, like the Civil Revolution happened and shit like that, where like it was like the nation versus the South and shit, when it was like that kind of conflict, there were slave owners who were in the South and they're like, yo, this is fucked up. And they freed their slaves and they're like, you can stay here, you can continue to work, you can stay in the big house, it doesn't matter, like whatever, like, if people come here and try and arrest you, just say you're my slaves, but you're free, okay? I don't care.
uh,
You know,
Okay.
like that was like a major changing point. But like there were some rich fucking oligarchs and shit who were trying to tap into the Underground Railroad just to get their fucking slaves back. Like, what the fuck? Like
Mhm.
these are people, not property. Like, I'm sorry.
Yes.
If I was back in that fucking realm, dude, I'd be blowing up so many bridges.
Mm,
I would just be fucking shit up. Cause like the
makes
thing
sense.
about it is back then, like it wasn't like fucking guerrilla warfare. It was like lines, fire. Like I'm gonna be the guy in the tree with like a hatchet, just like, hey, motherfucker, come below me. You'll be like a cushion for me. Whoa, like
Mhm.
the
Okay, so
yeah.
for sure, education in total, including the lost as well too.
But even then,
That's
that might not even solve anything
no.
because it's just like it's fucked. The way to get rid of it is to never have it in the first place. That's the only way
So
I've ever been able to come and comprehend it. Because if we teach it, then it's still installed in the kids, and then they could be like, "Oh, you're this," because they learn the insults. Kids are fucking ruthless. So like,
I know.
the way to get rid of it is to never have it. The fucking Amish, they don't have mirrors. You know why?
Hmm.
Jealousy. Because like, think about this: you have three wives, right? They
Hmm.
don't know what they look like. Okay, they never seen their own face, but they see the other wives and they see how pretty the other wives are, and they're like, "Oh, I must be pretty too." When you could be marrying someone like Igor.
Yeah, but now that's another question. I have another question. I'm sorry. This is like just to make more into context for everyone.
we're in like an
Because
hour and 30 now.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm pinpointing on Aries on this because this is a tough topic and it is something
I
that
mean,
we don't want out of context.
it is because racism is it's just been here since beginning of time.
Oh,
Hmm.
nope. No, it hasn't.
And
Well, since like everything started when it comes to like resolution revolutions.
It was there way
Bloody hell,
before
man.
that, and the Jews built the fucking pyramids, and that was racism then. But like racism hasn't always been a thing. There's been countries where like they they even to this day there's countries that have no racism because they see each other as the nation. How like I keep saying that we are American. We are not Irish American, African American, Asian American. We're nothing of the such. We're American. Everyone in America except the natives, the Indians, everyone has been brought over by boat or plane. Native
mhm,
Americans lived here. They walked here.
mhm,
Everyone else is no longer a native to this land. Scully, even for you, because the French were trying to colonize, and that's where you have your country speaking French and English on two different types of scales in your nation. So, no matter what, no one here is native. We are all brought over, just like everyone else. We were thrown away from our countries or sold and bought as slaves. No matter which way you look at it, even Irish, Asian, African American, we were sold as slaves. Fuck, even Mexicans and Spaniards and shit. However, there was even white slaves too. That's the thing. But it doesn't
mhm.
sell. So the news, the fucking history classes, they don't report on that because it looks bad. It doesn't fit their agenda. No matter which way
Um,
you fucking look at it, the way to get rid of slavery is to not have it.
and it's so tough topic. And it, like I said, there's so many questions I can pinpoint, and it still goes an endless loop. And I feel like I'm still gonna make it longer for you, Aries. That's I'm like, I'll keep the other question later on
Oh,
in the
fuck,
near future.
There's
fuck it, just say it.
there's always an endless loop of questions when it comes to this because there's
Yeah.
so many different like it's just it's hard to end it, but it's
Yeah,
not at the same time.
that's why. And I, like I said, with Aries, yours kind of could be contradicting too. Removing it, we already have education knowledge of it already right now. Imagine removing it, period,
No,
and not having it.
that's not what I mean. We can still teach it in the schools, but like we need to be careful about how we go about it because we need to teach everything, but not everything is going to be taught. Because like think about this, right? You got to get all these kids, you got to educate every single one of them, but yet we can't expect a teacher to teach every single fucking course, but the kids have to learn every single goddamn one of them. When
Hmm.
I was in high school, fucking I had a history teacher tell me that Australia started World War II. So this tells me that our education system is completely and utterly failing. My senior year of high school, the hardest question that was asked of me was 3 times 3. I wrote fish
Mm.
because I was pissed. Yes, I know that rhymes. But no matter
Okay.
what I'm getting at is that to remove racism is to not
Mm.
have it. That's the best way. But no matter what, it's still just gonna be there. Like no matter which way, the way I see about it is that it can be taught. It can be fucking educated because no matter what, it's a part of our history and we need to learn off of it, just like the fucking Yuan dynasty of China. But we need to make it known that everyone is American. We all bleed red, white, and blue. We are all American. We are all here not just for ourselves, but the betterment of everyone else. We are in the land of the free, home of the brave, and a government that has a conspiracy to kill every single one of us and not give a single fuck. So, what the fuck are we gonna do? We wanna fight and kill each other. We wanna divide our nations. We wanna divide our cities and kill each other. We create gangs, so then these gangs fight and kill each other. We have divided ourselves. We have made it so that this way, when it comes to war and conflict in our nations, it's not against, fucking the police versus the people. It's the people versus the people versus the people versus the people versus the government. No
Mhm.
matter which way you look at it, we are dividing ourselves and creating a nation of problems. We are about to collapse our own economy and we are about to go into another Great Depression. The way we get out of this is if we work together.
There
Our
you go.
government will always try and kill us. It is up to us to make sure our government cannot stand.
Mhm.
We are given guns by our Constitution to make it so that we can cripple our government in case it is needed. Not just because, like, oh, they are approaching my land, they're going to take my life, I'm going to take theirs. No, it's not just like that. If another foreign nation like Canada invades us, then we all know we're going to kill Scully because we have more guns than her.
Mhm. Don't worry, Scholar, you'll be fine.
It's a joke,
Oh,
but it's a joke. But
Okay,
what I'm getting,
I get your
yeah,
I get your concept.
sorry,
Like you just want.
I want to clarify on the joke. I just said that like we're dividing ourselves and dividing, our people, and then like, like if Canada's gonna invade, we're gonna kill Scully, like because, yeah, sorry, it's a joke, but
There.
you see what I'm saying? The way to get
Yes.
rid of racism is to understand the construct that we are all American. We all have the same blood, the same body. We are all people. We all work our asses off to our death because we are still slaves to this day.
Mhm.
The police were invented to catch runaway slaves, not to protect our homes. That's what we had guns for.
Mhm. Oh, but it makes sense. But it does need to be a little bit more into depth on it too. So maybe later on of why that reasons, like questioning reasonings, everything, and also removing the superiority complex that we have in the communities as well too, because that's an issue here. So it has to go into depth when teaching that history, everything, and thinking of
like
the
talking
aspects.
about this, there's always like on and on and on because there's really no answer to
No,
things.
there isn't really much, but that's
No,
what makes it very tough. You have to go into details and figure it out to make sure. And I'm pretty sure Aries will have a good system if he were to make it that way.
I already have
Mm.
a system, motherfuckers. I already have a system. I know how to fix this. The only thing is that for me to get started, I need $3 million. And the first place I'm targeting is Denver, Colorado.
Well, damn.
But Lynn, she says this. Check this out, and I agree with her on this. But just like how you heard about my education system, Lynn,
Mm-hmm.
she says you can be learning history from a racist. My
Mm-hmm.
teachers in high school didn't teach our history. They taught their own.
Version of history.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see. I'm illiterate. I don't know what decorated means.
And I like that idea too. There has to be a little bit more in control of like, background checks of these people too.
I mean,
Because
my geography teacher, I don't mean to like be, but like he is like white. He has a white standby. He thinks that like he's European, whatever. Like he has his own mindset with racist stuff, and he didn't really teach it.
Mhm.
Like
and I
when we got to indigenous portion of it, he had his own standpoint. So, I mean, that is true. We could be learning history from a racist, and that's literally what my teacher pretty much was.
and that's
I,
something that is something we need to check in backgrounds too, making sure we don't have those ignorance people because we should put a rule that they have to teach it. Not something that says, "Oh, I don't want to teach it," or give saying it's my opinion. No, you have to teach it. It's important,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
these are the most important qualities if needed.
sorry. I just had two thoughts.
Hmm.
So, Lynn, she's saying. So, I agreed with her statement. About like learning history, and I said very true. So this nation is fucked. But how do we fix it together. And I accidentally fucked up saying think, but she said, you can't just say, hey, let's work together. That shit is dead. The thing about it is that it is dead right now. It is. But
Mhm.
the thing about it is that there's a way to make it come back to life. There is a way to go about it because like once you open up the minds, once you opened up the hearts to the general public and actually made it so that they understand that we are all one, we are all together. So like you know how the Crips and Bloods, how they constantly keep fighting each other over fucking decades and shit. The thing about it is that the way to get them to stop fighting is to have them reconcile their differences, to understand that it is not just, you know, gang versus gang. They're trying to get money. They want to control. They want power. They they want money. That's the main demographic. Every gang, every cartel, every mafia, every faction, they all want one thing: money.
Mhm.
And the thing about it is the way to make money is to work together. But yet the government makes it so that they can't make money, so they have to turn to a life of crime. And any person would do this. Literally. If you are in your house and you have your family starving to death and you have military experience, what you are going to do is rob banks. Any rational person would fucking do that. That is the thing. It is very frowned upon and it should not be a thing. And I feel sorry to everyone that has happened to. Literally, I have seen Navy SEALs rob banks. Like, it is an insane thing. Like, it's not like anything special. Like, it's just straight up fucked. Executing bank tellers and shit. It's just horrible. Everyone wants money. And no
Mhm.
matter which way you look at it, this world that we live in will never be fixed unless we work together. And the only way we work together is if everyone is willing to work together, and no one's going to be willing to work together because we're all divided, and no one's even going to want to try and help because everyone wants to help themselves. No matter which way you look at it, we're all fucked, and we're just going to be standing in this wind. No matter which way
It's
you
an
look at it, we're all fucked.
it's kind
Mhm.
of like a considerably endless loop, basically.
Exactly. But yet, the way to revive it is literally to make it public knowledge that we are one. We are
Mhm.
all just the same human. We all want the same thing. And the way we fix that is by working together. Yes, there's people who want more, and you can have more. It doesn't matter. You want to become a billionaire? You want to become an oligarch? Go right the fuck ahead. Do it. But let's all work together. So then this way, not one person in this nation will ever have to go hungry again. No one will have to starve. No one will have to be kicked out on the street. Everyone will have a place where they can stay, call home, and live happy and healthy lives. And we're coming to a point where there is no return. If I'm the person that has to make this known to the public, we're already too late. We're all fucked unless we wake up.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, oh, we have been talking for 1 hour and 47 minutes for a long.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
It is
When
a
we
long time.
actually have a topic, it goes pretty long.
Yes.
Yeah. But no matter what, you see what I've been saying for this entire time, how I want to constantly improve these podcasts because no matter which way we look at it, we're all just fucked. We're all just living in a sandbox and we are not the host of the game. We're just a pawns
Mhm.
being executed by whim.
Hmm.
That's it. No matter which way you look at it. Because, I mean, like, for fuck's sake, racism is everywhere. The only way to get rid of it is not to have it. And that's going the same way with jealousy and all that shit. And yet, that will never change. So, the way to improve is wanting to improve. If you wanted to improve yourself, then you're already no longer a racist or anything because you want
Hmm.
improvement. It's the people who don't want improvement are the people who are going to be a wife beater. Those are going to be the people who are fucking racist. Those are going to be the people who you fucking are dating and they're constantly cheating on you behind your back. Those are going to be the fucking asshole motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're not going to want to improve until their life is ruined. And when their life is ruined, thousands, millions of others are going to be ruined as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it like this, right? If every single American gave $1 to every single American, you know how much money we would all have collectively?
Mm.
So, Tama, I gave you $1. I gave Scully $1. I'm down $2.
Mm-hmm.
But then Scully and Tama, you both give me $1. We would have equal wealth. And you know what that is?
Mm.
Communism.
Mm.
And I'm not an advocate for it. But you know what I am an advocate for?
Mm.
If you see a person in need, fucking help them.
Mm.
If I walked outside my house right now and I saw a homeless person, I'm more than happy to give them the 20 or 40 or 60 fucking dollars. Or even like if they just don't even want money and they want food, I'm more than happy to cook them a fucking ribeye or something. Or a quesadilla. It doesn't matter to me because I know they need it. They could be hungry. They could be starving. That meal could save their goddamn life. And yet,
The thing, my like, anytime I'm in the city with my father and my stepmom, like, I would want to, give like change or whatever. Nowadays, I have a card, so it's a bit hard. But if I do, my dad thinks it's like, what if they use it for drugs or whatever? Like, he has that standpoint. And I'm like,
you
what
don't.
if they don't? Like, no, me and my father have a very different standpoint. He is very much like loves our prime minister, thinks he's doing good because he's in the upper range. He's getting more money than my parents here. Like he's the rich one. Like what we're talking about. Like I live in two different families. I live in a smaller class and I live with a higher class. And like he could probably buy himself a huge house, but he's lived in this house his whole life because it's my childhood house, so he doesn't want to leave it. But like he's in the higher class, but he doesn't want to give.
See, no one wants to give because everyone wants shit for themselves. I mean, in the last podcast we did that won't be aired on YouTube, fucking, I made a promise that I'm more than happy to give $100 to Chris, and I even ate a fucking ghost pepper live.
How
Mm.
was that afterwards?
Oh yeah, now my organs are fucked, but it's whatever. But like the thing about this is that everyone wants the best for themselves. Everyone wants the best, I want 10 Bugattis, a 3-story house, a shooting range in the basement, whatever, right? Like they want the best, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is what they really actually want is just happiness. They want freedom. They just want to be able to live their life and not be stressed out. They just want to be happy. And that's where like a lot of the shit comes into play because like no matter which way you go about it, there's gonna be people who are just gonna be monsters and just try and ruin it for you, try and rip it apart from you, try and make it so that this way you'll never be able to do anything you ever fucking wanted. We just in Outlaws alone, we have been attacked and slandered more times than I can fucking count. I wrote multiple songs about it.
Mm.
That's the thing. Y'all motherfuckers know about this. There's always going to be someone that wants to kill you. There's always going to be someone who dislikes you. You could have fucking won 17 Nobel Peace Prize, been the nicest person on the planet, made trillions of dollars, and literally live in a shipping container and gave 99% of your wealth to people in need. There's still going to be a person who hates you, no matter what. And it's not going to matter about your fucking color or your fucking religion or ethnicity or anything and as such. It could be purely just about how they think you're ignorant or how you speak or walk or dress. I could be worth millions of dollars right now, and yet I'm still dressing in fucking hoodies that have bleach stains.
Mm.
No one would know.
Hmm.
That's the thing. So no matter which way we look at it, there's always going to
I
be
mean,
someone who hates you.
I grew up in two different like places. I lived in the city for my pretty much my whole life, and then the country life for 4 years. Standpoints are very different. In the city, you have to dress the way, you have to be that way, whatever. Like, there's literally, like what Aries was explaining right there is you literally have to dress the part, or else you're not considered city. You're not considered that person or whatever. Like, I grew up as like a quiet kid, whatever. And then people started putting things in my brain, and I started to, become someone who I'm not. And I'm still trying to get out of that because you literally grow up and you get fed stuff, and it's not who you are until you're out of it. Like the whole time in the city, I every time I go back to the city, I go back to that standpoint and I hate it. Like my friends are like, I'm a different person when I'm in the city. I'm a dick.
And are you? Sorry.
Mm.
No, like when I lived in the city, all females at my school would wear leggings, would wear jeans. Like we weren't allowed to like be different. Meanwhile, I live in the countryside here. I see people just coming with PJs and stuff. If I wore that in the city, I would have been like called weird or whatever. Like,
Oh, we have the same issue over here, technically. You have to be dressed well, you have to have a short haircut, you gotta have, no beard. It would
mhm.
have to vary. Yeah. Ironically, Aries would be miserable over here. Trust me.
Nah, fuck that. I look pretty good without a beard.
But
Well,
like,
Seriously, I actually do. Like, dude,
mm,
with my beard, I look incredibly a lot older. You know, like people
mhm,
think I'm 40 or 60 or something like that. I shave my beard, bitch, I look like a teenager.
not surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a social standard.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's the small aspects as like growing up in those two different things because I've actually lived in them. And now one of my new friends, she just moved from the city and she had an eye opening. Like, there's things that she's like, wow. And I'm like, I know. Like,
See, all of that shit that you were describing is prejudice. And just all that type of shit, it's just like diluting our fucking nation. Hold on, give me a second.
but
Yeah.
yeah, like,
But sorry, it's all just prejudice. It's all just like diluting our nation, making it so that we see each other as a economy. Like it's just we're drones. We're not people. We are like
mhm,
fucking a bank account to the banks. The money, so check this out. Let's say you have $10,000 and you put that into the bank. What happens to your money? Does it stay there? No. It goes into real estate. That's why banks own buildings. That's why banks own your home and shit. That's why you go into debt when you buy the house because the bank owns the building and they give you the loan to pay them. Your money goes to real estate and the real estate makes them even more money. That's why we will literally have property tax, not just to pay the bank, but also police, the firemen, the ambulances, etc. Unless they're hired by private companies. But all this shit being said and put together, the prejudice that comes with this is not just about like looking at a person and being like, oh, they dress like shit, they can't be worth anything. It's also bringing fucking racism and sexism into this shit. Like,
oh
lit.
yeah, like my grandma, the one time I went to the store, I don't know if I told you this, Aries, may have, but I just made cookies. I forgot that we needed more eggs, so I couldn't finish these cookies. I was making like another batch. So I asked my grandma to bring me to the store, and she looked at me. She's like, "You changing?" I literally have batter all over like my sweater because I'm gonna go back to baking. But because we live in the city, I have to change to look the way.
Yes, to be proper and shit. But like even like with all this shit, right? Think about it like this. Uh Lynn, she has been my friend for a long time now. We met streaming playing 7 Days to Die. Tama, you might have been there for that. But
Mm.
Scully, how many people online try and flirt with you, try and like do that type of shit?
A lot.
And the thing about it is that for the demographic of male to female ratio, this brings in another demographic of sexism. Because like if you don't give them what they want, they get pissed off and then like go for your fucking throat, right?
It does get annoying at times being a female and my mom telling me things and stuff, and I'm like, I understand it. Like, because I'm a female, I have blue eyes, used to have like blonde hair, but now it's become dirty blonde throughout the years.
See,
Like,
sorry, what?
well, I used to have like blonde hair as a kid, but now I have brown hair, so I mean, technically, still
Yeah,
that.
but what I'm getting at
But
with
like,
this is that where we see each other as different ethnicities, different religions, different sexes, different styles, and not fit into parts and all that type of shit. There's another one as well. Wealth. The thing about this is that we are putting each other in all of these different fucking categories and is literally ripping each other apart. Because like
Mhm.
I never saw race. Okay. It's not like I was like walking down the street and I saw fucking Neil, one of my old time friends. I'm like fucking 3 years old. And this dude, he is a 6'4" American. Like this dude fucking would pick me up and just fucking throw me and then just catch me and like, you want to go again? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, fuck it, you know? But like I never saw race. When I was in school, like the only race I saw was the one we were running. But then like when I got out of school and all this other shit, that's when people around me started saying shit like how Lynn was saying, like, they're saying a fucking N word and all this other shit. That's when I started to realize, like, wait, what the fuck is going on around me? And like people
I grew,
became incredibly insensitive and racist as fuck. And it just like deteriorated everyone I knew. And I just cut ties with everyone just because I
yeah,
don't want to be around those type of fucks. And most of these people, they're in jail now.
I
That's
grew up in a
fucked.
Christian family, so I had things in my brain already. And now my aspects of what I was taught when I was in grade 4, because that's when I said fuck it to Catholic schools, or no, grade 5. Grade 5, that's when I said I'm done with Catholic schools. That's when I learned more things and got a different, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
A different point of
your
view.
point of view. There we go. Yeah,
Hmm.
like a different point of view of what I was taught. And like, still to this day, when I'm like with my cousins, whatever, they're very much Catholic. And my grandma hates I don't go to church or whatever, but I don't believe in that completely because she thinks that because I'm bisexual, I'm a sin.
Hmm.
Aren't you?
And
And
No, no, actually, seriously, aren't you? Because you are a human, just like us, right?
mhm,
yeah, everyone has sin.
Yeah,
yeah,
everyone does. You've said a swear word, that's a sin.
yeah.
Mhm.
I
I'm
mean,
just gonna go on a limb. I know you drink, I know you smoke. Those are sins.
Carrie, I mean, Aries, what sweater do you wear?
What?
Cotton? What sweater do you wear? A cotton sweater or a fabric? What type of fabric do you wear?
Black?
Ah, supposed to answer it. And apparently, fabric is also considered a sin. So
That
that's
that's
another
mhm,
one.
yeah. But like smoking, drinking, sex.
Yeah, there's so many different things, and then you're like, but it's stupid that it's a sin. Like, I mean,
Thinking about it
yes,
is considered a
I
sin too.
I like other like a different oh my god, what's it called? Sex, there we go. Different sex or whatever, but grandma, you used to smoke. Grandma, you drink. Grandma, you swear at my dad every day.
But see, with all this being said and done, it's just another way to divide. That's it.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that's it. We are adapting in the wrong way. You know what most people don't understand?
What?
Polar bears. What is a polar bear? It is a giant bear. It lives in Antarctic, right?
Wait, Jeffy.
Yeah. These motherfuckers, they don't eat any type of vegetation in any shape, way, or form because there is none. They eat meat. They only
Mhm.
eat meat. So, just saying, you're meat. They're gonna try and eat you too. The thing about this is that they are incredibly violent and vicious. They don't care. They'll kill anything. And what people don't understand is that what the fuck is in Antarctic? The fucking polar bears, seals, shit like that. There ain't no penguins. So, think about this. How the fuck did the bear get there? No one ever wants to talk about that. Fucking polar
Mhm.
bears are Irish. They're Irish. They are descendants of the Irish brown bear. They just adapted to the environment.
Mhm.
Google it if you don't believe me.
Mhm.
But like, no matter what, we are dividing ourselves. We are not willing to learn and adapt to all the information that has been postponed upon us. Like, it ain't anything good. We are literally not just killing ourselves, but our nation as well. The new generation now, Scully's generation, it is the smallest generation ever in our nation. That is terrifying because the fucking what boomers, they're retiring, or is it the generation below them? Whatever. Anyways, there's
Millennials. There you go.
no there's
There's
they're still working their asses off.
yeah, I'm
I
part
don't
of
know,
it.
one of them. One of them.
Yeah, but like what I'm getting at is that one of the fucking demographics is retiring right now, and when they go into retirement, that's a large workforce just gone. And then that's
Mhm.
going to make it
Mhm.
so that everyone else is going to have to take on 2 times of the responsibility, and that means our taxes are going to go up as well. And people don't think about this shit. It's going to be
I mean,
horrific. And yet, there's 3 different types of things going into play right now. One, Congress is attacking the IRS, trying to abolish it. That's going to
Oh
be
yeah.
another evolution right there. But then they're also attacking the ATF. And this one, I commend them for it. Because there's no way in hell this handgun should be classified as an assault weapon or a weapon of war. Just because this handgun holds 11 fucking rounds does not mean it's an assault weapon. That AK-47 that has 60 fucking rounds in it right now, that's an assault weapon. But it's not really.
I mean, altogether, there's a lot of things that aren't talked about and just left.
Yeah.
Just left to the side, never talked about until everything
Comes into
was
light later
kaput.
on.
Even
Yeah.
that, even then, when it does come into light, it's just gonna rip us apart even more. Because like literally, like Tom, I have sent you a fucking PDF file. It was 196 pages, and it's from the Department of Defense. And even you, when you saw that, you're like, Aries, how the fuck did you get that? I'm like, let's not talk about that, but let's
Mhm.
focus on the information in the book. And you're like, what? And I'm like, it's all about China.
Yep.
Think about all the other information I have about how the fucking CIA killed JFK. That sounds like a conspiracy theory, but the difference between a conspiracy theory and fact is a couple months.
Mhm.
That's scary to think.
Mm.
Either way, we probably do need to end this, right?
Yeah, it's already 2
Yeah.
hours already.
Yeah. So,
At least it's family day tomorrow, so I have no school.
yeah. And hey, that means we can edit and do all that type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, or frets
No.
before we end it?
Everything that was said today, honestly, there's some things I didn't even fucking know. There's some things that when I was talking, I'm like, oh shit, man. I mean, I'm still learning. You learn one thing every day. That's what my dad says. You learn one
Mhm.
thing every day, even if it's a small thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I go for like 10 to 15. I try. But
There's still a lot on my side too, but it's like too long too on my part.
I
I,
mean, I'm still learning things because, yeah,
There's so much to learn.
so hold up.
yeah.
To everyone who tuned in during or after the fact, it really does mean a lot. Thank you guys. Please, everyone, have a good one. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay you. And we'll see you guys in the next one. So have a good one. And peace.
Peace, everyone.
And now we get the banter for like 10 seconds, so 15 seconds or something like that, because like we don't know how much time is going to be shaved off at the end of it. So banter.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
losing my mind, but it's entirely fucked, everything about it. The only way to fix
yeah,
everything is to forget everything and then learn everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. It's fucked. Either way. This will be uploaded on YouTube later today, so you can watch the rest of the podcast. And yeah, everything should be entirely fine. I got to spend the next 3 hours downloading it. Then I got to spend the next 3, 4 hours uploading it. So, Scully, you
Ma-
want to edit? Because we got a lot of videos to edit.
yeah. I will get to it.
Yeah, I've been to the gun range fucking 2, 3 times already. And then, yeah. Tom,
I
did
think
you
I know
download the 7
how
Days to
to get
Die?
that shakiness out of it. So I
Mhm.
just Googled how to, and there's a lot of videos.
I don't know.
So
Damn.
should be able to. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did one point. I'm pretty sure because I know that I was recording and I have a shaky hand because like I never stop moving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's really hard for me to record videos. Like probably some of my vlogs are a bit shaky because I can never stop moving.
All right. So 10, 9. Sorry. Want to end the podcast so we can work.